Hey all, it's my second attempt at recording this. I tried it a little earlier and I think it was a little too long. Couldn't compress it. But I just wanted to walk through very briefly a football draft guide that I'm working on for fantasy football. As you can see, I use regular expressions. What I wanted to do, what I've been doing for a long time, is take information from the internets, particularly from Yahoo Sports, which is where I play fantasy football. And I wanted to pull it down automatically and use it and then feed it into an algorithm that I use called VONA. VONA stands for value over next available. And the goal here is I try to stick just to projected fantasy points. This is last year's actual, but they have projected for the future season. And I teach stats, and I think this is a sufficient statistic, which is to say that there's no new information that I have to bring to the table. People who are very smart and get paid and work very hard at this come up with this number, 273 for Arian Foster and 260 for Adrian Peterson, and me trying to get in the middle of that just going to cause trouble. So I try not to cause trouble. I leave it be. But VONA is based on the idea of opportunity cost, meaning that if I don't pick Arian Foster, if I have the first pick and I don't pick him, instead I pick a quarterback, how many points am I giving up? Alternatively, if I don't pick a quarterback, how many points am I giving up? That's what I'm trying to figure out. This side right here contains tables that will be populated soon enough, as well as a browser and the text. This side over here on the right is my draft sort of tableau. I leave that kind of separate. But in any case, what I wanted to do is get this information. So the way that I do this is I click Get Player Data, and it clicks through to each of the pages, and you can see that there's a little bit of a delay. Now, the way that this works in practice is that it uses that web browser and it navigates, and I included in a delay there, which just counts for milliseconds, and it pulls out the HTML. It strips out everything before this string right here, body content, and everything after what is essentially the footer. Those CHRs are, I forget what CHR 34 is. Might be quotes. Yeah, so it removes all those strings, and then it constructs an offense string. It has to do that for kickers, and it has to do that for defense as well. So it does that, and it sounds, based on the clicking, like it's done. Yeah, it says text written to file. So it writes the text to a file, in particular this file right here when it's done. What that text looks like, I can show you. It's still ugly, but it's mine now. It's on my computer. I also add in a tag for offense and another one so that I can set off the offense string and the kicker string. There's a kickers and end kickers. It's ugly. I can show you right here. We have one player. Let's see, where's a player that we can look at? Peyton Manning right here. Hey, that's his name. Usually it starts with a div no wrap tag right there. And it almost always ends with a /TD, I think. Not sure. It's not that /TD. It's this /TD right here. So this is all Peyton Manning. It's a mess, you can see. Now, since I happen to know what this looks like, I can tell you that this right here is owner. That's FA. 22, not sure what that. Oh, that's projected pick. Actual pick right here, 100% is the number of leagues he's owned in. 4,761 here is his projected yards for the season. And then 35.9 must be, I don't know what it is. In any case, I don't care. I don't want to see this like this. It's ugly. I want it in a table that I can use. So what I do now is I take this data. It's in that file still. I can close this, although it won't matter because Notepad doesn't care. I click Clean Text. Boom. It cleans it. It turns it into a semicolon separated file, which is really nice. I have all my offenses up here. You can see that it's sorted by fantasy points. So Michael Vick is first. We got all the quarterbacks first because they get lots of fantasy points. This is all good and well, right? It goes through that. I use regular expressions. I'll show you what those look like real quick just so you can see. One example here. So it looks for anything that looks like this structure. These NRTs are line breaks. And then it looks for these TD classes, and there's some wild cards in here. But it finds all the matches. And there should be, I think, 250 or 275 offense, 50 defense, and 50 kickers. It finds those, and then it assigns them to a class if you're interested, I can post another video on that. Keep that open. But it does that, and then it populates them to or it turns them into semicolon separated right now, which is good. That's what I need. When I click to grid, it does some other fancy stuff. Right now, it's going to populate the available, the all players, and the by position tabs. And what it's going to do when I click to grid is it now is when it actually it reads the input and puts them into a hash table. Where does that happen? CSV to hash is where it really happens, I think. Yeah, so it takes this, it uses the enumerator as a semicolon, and it goes through them, and for each player, it creates a player item, a player object, and it adds them all to one big player table. So now I've essentially taken it out of the organizational structure of Yahoo and put it into my own organizational structure where everybody has every one of these variables. And I also add something called VONA. That's value over next available. I go through each player, and then I subtract their projected points. I take their projected points and subtract for each of the next 10 players the projected points, so that this is the value over the next, the first item in here in this array is the value over the next player, and then the value over the second player after them, and the third player and fourth player, which looks like this. I can show you. Let's see. Not in there. Let's look by position. Here we go. So Michael Vick, his first VONA is 8. It means he's worth 8 points more than the next guy, 35 points more than 2 guys after him, 51 points more than 3 guys after him, 53 points more than 4 guys after him. You can see there's kind of a flat space here, meaning that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Phillip Rivers are all more or less equivalent, or at least close. That's not right. That's not who I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and Tom Brady, right? So these 3 guys, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and Tom Brady, who are 3, 4, and 5 below Vic, there's kind of a flat space there. So yeah, that's good to know. And VONA helps you to see that a little bit. Okay, so what I've done now is I've taken this browser system, which I didn't like, right? It doesn't allow me to see what I want to see. I've put it into my own, populated into my own system. I've also added a little pick column here, which I can use. This is good. This is very informative. It's data. But what I really want to do is use it for a draft. So I'll show you how I do that. Right now I have hard-coded values. You can enter these manually. These are the teams I play against. And what I want to do now, and this is the league setup, what I want to do now is lock these in and populate a draft schedule over here. I don't know that this order is correct. I talked to the commissioner. I'm not sure how it works. But you can see here we have a snake draft. It was a bit of a pain. I used some modular arithmetic to work it out. But it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back again, right? But it's still waiting on me to start. So I'll show you how it works when you start it. Start the draft. Okay, it's Monkey Death Car's pick. We'll just assume that he's going to pick. I'm going to assume that everybody but me is picking according to projections for now, but even though that's not true. We have it set up. You have to double-click on the pick, and then it goes to whoever's currently picking. You can see here right now Crackdown Freebasers are currently picking. And they're going to pick Adrian Peterson. Now it's my pick. I have 10 picks till my next pick. And according to previous projections, the way other drafts have gone, mine's not likely to go this way because we don't have as many teams. But between 3 and 10, or 3 and 14, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 running backs, 1, 2 quarterbacks maybe, and how many wide receivers? 1, 2, 3 wide receivers. It says I have too many projected picks, but the way I have this set up is it highlights my VONAs here. Now, if I don't pick Michael Vick, he might go, and Aaron Rodgers might go, so I'll lose 35 points. If I don't pick Roddy White, Hakeem Nicks, and Andre Johnson are going to go, which means Greg Jennings is the next available. I'll lose 19 points. If I don't pick Chris Johnson, then there's going to be 7 of these guys who are going to go, which means that the next person that I'm going to get to pick is 49 points down here at 199 for the season, Cedric Benson, right? So if I let him go, I'm going to lose a lot. So very clearly to me, I see that okay, well, if this is what I'm giving up here, I don't want to give up 49 points. I'll have to be satisfied with giving up 19 or 35. So I'll pick Chris Johnson. And there we go. That's how much I gave up. Every time somebody gets picked, it decrements one of these combo boxes. I'm going to assume that everybody else is going to pick according to plan. So Jamal Charles, I picked somebody above their pick, but he would have been gone by the time I had another chance at him. Ray Rice, Michael Turner is going to be next. I forget who's the 7th pick. Oh, Andre Johnson all the way down there. So I'm just assuming everybody picks according to plan, just to show you one more, maybe 2 more picks. But this is the way that this works. Most of the time, people are picking, my job here is going to be to watch on Yahoo, and then to track them as they go, to double click and make sure that everybody gets populated over here. But once I do that, as long as I'm keeping up with it, it should make it so that I can use this tool to help me make my decisions. Number 11. This automatically sorts by projected points, which is kind of a pain, rather than projected pick. But something I can fix later. 12, and then 13 is the next one that's going to go. And if it went this way, then it would indicate that I had chosen wisely to pick my running back. Okay, there are going to be 4 picks before my next pick, according to this. In practice, this probably isn't the way it would really go. It's unlikely that somebody would have 2 running backs already. Whatever, maybe not. Okay, so between now and my next pick, which is 4 picks from now, so between 14 and 19, looks like we're going to have 1, 2, 3 QBs, 2 wide receivers, and maybe a running back. So 3 QBs, 2 wide receivers, and a running back. I go over to my positional tables here. Oh, and I can see very clearly if Vic is still on the table at this point, that's who I want to pick. Probably even if Peyton Manning was still on the table, that's who I want to pick. But that's, 53 versus 19 versus 10. That's how I make my decision here. Pick Michael Vick. And everything keeps updating. Really nice. So this is basically how it works. I use the most. I can make it so that you don't have to update the data every time. But you can update the data as soon as you like, whenever you want, as long as it's before the draft. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be using for my draft. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, post them, and I'll do what I can to answer them. Thanks, guys. Bye.